anachronism is when something stands out from everything around it as just being from the wrong era in time. Think Prince Philip at a Justin Bieber concert. A glaring anachronism can immediately ruin any good period movie. I mean, Pride and Prejudice would have been rubbish if Darcy and Bennett had met via online dating. Or if the soldiers in 300 had got together in a flash mob. Spartans, tonight we meet on Twitter! Doesn't really work, does it? Just what we needed. Yet another Robin Hood movie. But this one is going to be perfect, right down to every last detail. Like this smoothly cut tree stump that has blatantly been cut with a modern machine. Because they didn't use axes back then, they used ye olde chainsaw. In Robin Hood's day, they also used modern war equipment, just like these World War II landing crafts straight out of Saving Private Ryan, despite the fact that they weren't invented until the 1920s. Only 700 years out. Yeah! Might as well go the whole hog, Robin. What's that up in the sky in this shot? That's right, the vapor trail from an aircraft. In the year 1200. The High Seas, 1589, in a couple of clips from St. Trinian's 2. This film is full of anachronisms, not least casting Girls Aloud Sarah Harding as a 16-year-old schoolgirl. But in this scene, the clangor is a view through a telescope. I don't need to tell you that the telescope wasn't invented until 1608. He doesn't care. In the improbably titled Hot Tub Time Machine, a group of modern-day losers go back to the year 1986 in a hot tub that's also a time machine.
No foreign army has ever occupied American soil until now.
Well, I'll believe that, but not this. A poster for Rambo 3. It wasn't released until 1988, 2 years later. Who's responsible for this mistake?
The Ruskies.
Yeah, I might have guessed.
Accident, black spot. These aren't accidents.
With Nail and I is a cinema classic that struggles to stay in the 60s.
Throwing themselves into the road to escape all this hideousness. Throw yourselves into the road, darling!
Tearing down a 60s road in their 60s car with a bottle of 60s booze. But they seem to have taken a wrong turn and ended up in the 1980s. See those? Loads of 80s cars. Well, that's what drink driving will do for you.
Are you out of your mind? Pull over, you haven't got a license.
They also pass a modern motorway sign. In fact, the M25 didn't exist until 1975, and that's not in the 1960s. Here's a clip from the smash hit, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. When our hero, Mikhail Blomkvist, goes for a jog, he has a flashback to his childhood in the 60s. Spot the problem? Yeah, this was a childhood in which he wore modern trainers from the future. Next up is Avatar, the worldwide blockbuster that asks an age-old question. What if giant Smurfs with pointy ears could control flying dragons with their tails and make a tree go all glowy? And yeah, I didn't understand it either. And it was so long. James Cameron, take a leaf out of your brother David's book and make some harsh cuts. If I want to spend 3 hours in a darkened room wearing a pair of cheap plastic glasses, I'll go to a tanning salon. Avatar is set in the mythical world of Pandora and features a Pandora's box full of movie mistakes, such as combining the plots of Fern Gully and Pocahontas. In this scene, Neotri's ponytail is out of sight over her shoulder. Then it's on her back. And when she goes to plug it into her dragon/horse, it's around her front again.
Ikran is not horse.
Ooh, well, excuse me.
You are cleared for South Department.
This guy may be the corporate baddie of the film, but he's got incredible golf skills. He can move balls without touching them. First the two balls are close together,
No, you didn't. You were looking at the monitor. I love this putter, Ronnie. I love this putter.
Next, they're far apart.
Parker, you know, I used to think it was benign neglect, but now I see that you're intentionally screwing me.
Grace, you know, I enjoy our little talks.
Then they're back together.
Oops.
This is wrong in all 3 dimensions.
Not some jarhead dropout.
Here we see Jake return from his avatar to the real world, the boring old real world where mystical things don't exist. Like Sigourney's hand magically moving from his arm to his shoulder,
Yeah, Doc.
back to his arm. Avatar, have a word with yourself, Mr. Cameron. And it happens again. Watch Jake's arms start on the table.
Be one of them.
That's called taking the initiative, son. I wish
Now they're on his wheelchair.
Look, Sully, just find out what
Now they're
the
out
blue
straight.
monkeys want.
Now
You
bent.
know, I mean, we tried to give them medicine.
Now straight again.
Education.
Honestly, it makes me
growth,
turn
but no,
blue with
they like
rage.
money.
Here's a big fight from the end of the film. Have a look at Colonel Quaritch in his cockpit. There's a wing mirror right at the back, behind his head. Notice how the front strut is completely mirrorless. But then suddenly, hello, a mirror right by that strut, and clearly in front of his head. A bit of high tension in the jungle. No mirror in front of him here. Still no mirror in front of him. And hello, a handy mirror to see a horsey dragon attacking his giant robot. You know what I hate? Those moments in films when the actor's mouth isn't synced up with what they're saying. Sometimes their mouth isn't moving, sometimes it's moving but nothing's coming out. Still, it's better than watching Twilight, where you can see Robert Pattinson's mouth moving, but what you hear is absolute drivel.
Well, we found their hideout.
Let's start with the Goonies and the man driving the car trying to pull off an Amy Winehouse, singing and smoking at the same time. Look in the car mirror. We can hear his voice, but his mouth isn't moving. Watch and learn, Winehouse. In the movie Collateral, Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx go to a jazz club that's so groovy it ignores the rules of physics.
Soft melody, behind the notes, not what's expected.
Listen as the trumpet note continues, even though the trumpeters stop blowing. Nice.
Have I told you about Sammy Jenkins?
Yeah.
Memento now, and watch the guy on the right's mouth.
John G. You think he's still here?
Another one talking without actually moving his lips.
What about John G? You think he's still here?
Who?
Johnny G, the guy you're looking for.
Exceedingly cruel, traveling by motorbus rail.
Now this woman is talking so much you can still hear her when her mouth isn't moving.
Pinching every penny, yes.
Watch closely as she's put down on the sofa.
Coffee shop downstairs. Not that I trade a day, an hour, a moment of it for anything. I don't know what came over me.
Windsor Plantation.
And here is a classic mouth wrong from the film The Notebook. Take note. Just because a scene is dimly lit does not mean you can dub over completely different words.
Be careful, this is broken. Look at that.
This place is gigantic.
Yeah, a gigantic piece of...